Coming at you live from DNHQ in beautiful South Pasadena, California. This is, you know what this is? This is the Blue Heaven Podcast. We are powered by the Overtime Podcast Network. What is going on, Dodgers Nation? My name is Clint. You can find me as Real FRG on Twitter and Instagram.
That's right, and I'm Brooke. You can find me at BrookeMe3 on Twitter and Instagram. On today's show, there's only one thing to talk about. Again,
well, kind of
there's a lot to talk about, but we're going to talk about one thing.
There's so much. We didn't even know quite what to talk about. But, you know what we're going to talk about? We got to talk about Mookie Wood. The Mookie Betts Super Show Part 2. We're going to talk about Mookie's Wood here. And we're going to pull in our friend, Dodgers broadcaster Tim Neverett a little bit later. We got I had a chance to talk to him before the show. We got to talk about who's in and who's out. So we're going to bring in our friend SDDodger Tim, Mr. Tim Rogers.
A lot of moving parts.
There are a lot of moving parts. There's also apparently a lot of weird random moving parts in the new playoff thing.
You know what they say, when things are going
peculiar.
really bad, change everything.
Yeah. This is exactly what baseball needed. They needed new playoff rules coming out or heading into CBA issues.
There you go.
I feel we might owe Jock Pederson an apology, but we'll get to that towards the end of the show if we have time. And there's going to be a whole lot more. But, of course, first, we have to give a shout-out to our friends over at Sportscaster. At sportscaster.com, you can be the star of your own show with built-in studio graphics, special effects, special events you can go to. You can look like a pro and sound like a pro. So if you'd like to live stream in game or be your own broadcaster, visit sportscaster.com today. That is CASTR.com today, but after our stream.
Please, after the stream, guys. Don't forget this is a live stream, so make sure you guys drop your comments, drop your questions below. Let us know where you're repping Dodgers Nation from. I always say zip code, but not zip code, area code, because I don't know zip codes. Who knows zip codes off the top of their head?
Social
you know area codes,
number.
right?
I got
Mother's
hose.
maiden name, your first pet's name.
I got hose in different area codes.
Routing number, etc.
So before we get into a lot of stuff and before we dig into a lot of your guys' questions and comments, because we see the stream is hot tonight, we do got to remind you, we have a giveaway going. There's a giveaway for a Cody Bellinger jersey, so make sure you sign up for that. Gary's got a fine graphic he's going to throw up there. But DodgersNation.com/giveaways for more information. The contest ends next Tuesday, February 18th at noon o'clock LA time. So with that said,
a lot of people in the stream though.
Richard Hooker's in the stream. That's good. We got the 805. We got the 559. We got we got OnePlus Jock. I don't know that area code. I'm sorry.
His number?
Yes.
Oh no, that wouldn't. Candido's from New Brunswick. That's where my wife's from. That area.
Oh. Wait.
That's really random.
Still feels loud.
It's really loud.
Also he's asking who will start in left field, and that's going to be an interesting question for sure. We got Dodger Blue Bleeder from Colorado in the stream. We got Devin saying what's up, Clint, Brooke, and Gary. Look, Gary getting the shout out.
Wow, someone knows I'm alive.
This guy,
Thank you.
This person on Periscope doesn't have a name. It's just the Shruggy guy. And that they say, can't wait for the season. Me too, Shruggy guy. Me too.
Our friend Roach over there representing from the 909. So, guys, let's get into it. What the hell happened since we were so happy last week, and then it was a nightmare?
We've been in limbo since Tuesday of last week. We've been in limbo, then it was just solved like yesterday.
Basically, one full week, it was happiness, and then, wait, this is taking a while, and then, wait a minute, there's problems, and then, wait a minute, Chaim Bloom's kind of a D-bag, and then it just kept going on, but...
forever and ever and ever.
Mookie was a Dodger, and then he wasn't, and now he is. Thankfully, he is, but again, I wrote it out here as, it's pretty much a 5-day drama.
The original trade.
Was it not a drama for sure? But the Dodgers, there are experts out there, selves included probably, that feel Los Angeles came out even better after the original trade. But yeah, go ahead.
Still good. They still did the good deal.
If you guys missed what happened, tell them what happened.
The original trade was a 3-team deal. It involves Betts and Price both going to L.A., Verdugo going to Boston, Maeda, Minnesota, and Gatorade or whatever.
Brother Gatorade.
Brother Gatorade is what we're calling him, right? Yeah, going to Boston. And then the second trade, supposedly, was my personal favorite. Except Ross Stripling, I wanted him to say. Jock Pederson, Ross Stripling / prospect, which was reportedly supposed to be the Pages guy, Andy Pages.
Yeah, Pages was going to go to...
Right? Supposed to go to Anaheim for Rengifo plus prospect. Or prospects.
Or two. Yeah,
who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
Well, There was a hang-up on Brother Gatorade's medical, which I'm pretty sure is not a real thing, and they didn't actually have a hang-up about it. But they, more than anything to me, they were like, that's a lot of backlash for trading Mookie Betts for apparently not that much. And they were like, oh, no, wait, medicals are bad. We thought he was a starter. It's like, dude, he doesn't start, like, ever. He started in the minor leagues a little bit, but he mostly came in relief. Like, you knew he was a reliever. He throws 100. There's no starters that just constantly throw 100. That's not a thing.
I think the general narrative out of that came that, everybody... There's not a single pitcher that's thrown a ball that their medical comes back, squeaky clean. So you knew there was going to be something wrong with there. He's had Tommy John. He, had a shoulder impingement last year, and he came out and he was throwing easy 100-mile-an-hour cheese.
How could they have done all of that research as a professional baseball organization and a good professional baseball organization? How could they have done all that research and background on him for one of their star players and not checked any medical records or had any concerns before that and not known that he doesn't profile long-term as a starting pitcher? Mm-hmm. I don't buy it. Not buying it. I think the Red Sox backpedaled because they realized the deal was not as in favor as their fans would have liked for trading their star piece.
Yeah, I think, honestly... Twitter did kind of play a good part in it, and all the columns. That was one of the things. We're going to play a good clip from my conversation with Tim Neverett a little later in the show. But Tim was talking about that. Like some of the columns that were immediately coming out in Boston from some of the columnists out there in Boston. They're basically 100% hunting for blood. So. They wanted anything to go out for, go after Chaim Bloom on this. Your first move is to trade the 2018 MVP, a guy that you guys, drafted and made into this guy. Definitely tough to say, and importantly, John Gotti wants us to shout him out on YouTube. And we got Eddie.
John Gotti a gangster?
I think so. Yeah. Eddie Pollock over there is watching in North Carolina. That's Seeger country, so that's pretty cool. Thanks for hanging out with us, Eddie. Sorry for your last name being Pollock.
That's his cousin.
So those were the trade. That was a trade. Those were the trades that were going to happen. Of course, ultimately, it seems they got better. Brother Gatorade, Betts Price came to L.A. Unfortunately, Dugo is gone. Verdugi's gone. Oddly enough, Jeter Downs, who was in some of the original conversations of this particular transaction, so Jeter Downs is gone. That's a pretty big loss, but it's something where we'll get into more of Jeter Downs and everything with our boy Tim. Rogers, not Neverett, and then Connor Wong, and then of course you lost another catcher with Yair Camargo. You lost Kenta, but you picked up Brother Gatorade. You picked up an outfielder you traded for Brian Dozier a couple seasons ago, and you got a draft pick. So all in all, along with Anaheim pulling out of the deal, you know what? It feels good.
Honestly, if anything, it felt like the Dodgers were getting fleeced on the Anaheim deal.
Yeah.
So for them to pull out of that deal, for me, was like, I think you guys know I'm not the biggest Jock Pederson fan in the world, but I also didn't want to give him away for half a sandwich and a half-eaten Rengifo.
What kind of sandwich are we talking about?
Like not even a good one, like a fried Spam sandwich or something like that.
Artie Moreno's a coward.
Yeah. Artie Moreno, if you're listening to this, which doesn't make sense why you would be, but Anaheim's in Orange County, you idiot.
So before we get into the prospects and the players moving around, we got to break down kind of the weird timeline of drama here. Again, it started with Boston agreeing and then getting cold feet. It looks like Chaim Bloom is not making friends in baseball very, very quickly.
Yeah, well, listen, if that's your first big move as a GM, does that really make other GMs anxious to do business with you?
Yes.
Realistically. I mean, realistically, you see him hold up a trade like that. Are you if you're Farhan, are you like, hey, I want to do business with the Red Sox? Or are you like, nah, screw that, I'm going to do business with the Marlins because they give away their players?
I'm going to do business elsewhere for sure.
Heck yeah, dude.
I will drop
Especially
my business.
your first trade, it's like, yeah, you don't know what you're doing, bud. We're not going to go to you.
Yeah, and then for people watching on the podcast side, Gary's got a fun clip to throw up of our friend Graterol throwing. Like, they didn't like the medicals.
Brother Gatorade,
but homie looks to be throwing pretty free and easy. Like,
he's got that mad sinker too.
When we saw the clips, he's throwing a 100-mile-an-hour sinker. Like, I don't know about you, but I can't throw 100 miles. Gary, can you throw 100 miles an hour?
He can throw a sinker.
If I'm throwing from the car.
The car's
driving
going. The
already?
car's going 100.
All right, what's your 0 to 100 miles an hour then? So you can go ahead and turn that clip off. It goes
it's been going on.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
no,
off.
yeah, off. Yeah, it
Oh,
goes
it's
on
just
for
going-
a while.
oh, okay.
Yeah, it's somebody I stole it from YouTube. I'll shout them out later on the post. So thanks to somebody for doing that work. But again,
You mean MLB?
no, well, yes, the clips were stolen from MLB. But
He caused quite the stir. Like, his medicals pissed off a lot of people. First of all,
What was his issue? I didn't see that. Like
Nobody
what was the
said.
thing?
there's no clear thing about it. There's nothing direct. He did have a shoulder issue last year, but that's it. So obviously the medicals were there. Tony Clark, the what is his title? Executive Director of the Players
Of
Association.
bitching,
Yeah, something like that. Very upset, not happy
was
with the
big
way
mad.
things were happening, which 100% reasonable. 100% reasonable.
Yeah, that's
You
why
got a lot
Justin
of-
Turner got all pissy.
Yeah, I don't so
totally
much.
understandable.
To be fair, I don't so much feel for the big leaguers in that trade so much. You're getting paid a lot of money to be that guy, so I don't really feel that much for it. But I do really feel for those younger prospects involved that, first of all, don't have any money at all. Second of all, don't know where they're supposed to be packing their bags for this week, because this week the teams are reporting. So they're like, I don't know where the hell I'm supposed to go. Am I going to Florida or am I going to Arizona?
minor leaguers make no money, but thankfully baseball is thinking about changing up the playoff system that works. You know what? That's just like
Beautiful.
you are right on
Beautiful.
the money there, Rob.
In
Manfred,
addition
you
to Tony
dumbass.
Clark, though, you also had it was
Yeah,
on
like you
one
said,
hand
the
it
turn.
sucked, but on the other hand, it's like watching the players start to chime in and really stand
Yes.
up. I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. This is kind of because historically we haven't seen a lot of players other than like Trevor Bauer speak up, and is that really the guy you want to be the representative? I mean, realistically,
Yeah.
So JT was just like calling out reporters like, hey, how about you just don't tweet stuff until you know what's happening.
They did know what's happening, and again, they're doing their
did.
job, and that's part of a greater
wasn't a
It's a bigger
conversation.
that's a bigger
Yeah.
conversation.
That was
yeah.
Chaim Bloom's fault. I would put that at least 90%.
I think it was.
Chaim Bloom.
I think it was misdirected anger, but I understand where his frustrations were coming from. But also, Heyman just the worst responses to that exchange. Like, it could not have gotten
Imagine
any
that,
worse.
John
Well,
Heyman.
wow. When has he
gosh,
had a good response?
John
I mean, he
Heyman.
doesn't ever, but
No.
that was especially bad. I was like, John, just shut up, dude.
John Heyman, who is widely known to be in Scott Boris's pocket, who
His back pocket.
back pocket, and Boris is not somebody who cares so much about the public image and perception of himself. So
Or people's livelihoods.
It all makes sense. Plus, Heyman's a New Yorker, all that kind of stuff. It just sort of happens. And then the other side of the deal, the original deal, was Artie Moreno's hissy fit. Artie gonna Arnie. He didn't like. You having problems there, Chief?
Sorry, I hit the beer on the arm.
Well, here's the thing. Artie really wants to be a part of Los Angeles for some reason. So it's a good thing he just signed a new deal with the city of Anaheim. That makes a lot of sense. For some reason, really wants to be a part of Los Angeles. Can't be. So now he's just going to, I don't like Artie Moreno. I really don't like him. Anyways, he threw a fit. Decided, we don't need this deal. There's a lot of reports that came with it that, like, hey, maybe the Dodgers decided that they didn't. But ultimately, from what it sounds like, Artie Moreno pulled the trigger on that one and said, let's back out of this deal. He probably thought he was going to end up, revisiting the conversation and he was going to get more out of it. But the Angels were on top of that deal. I mean, it depends on which prospects came back. But, I mean, unless you're picking a top 5 prospect, Angels were on top.
It was a salary dump in a way for LA, and we're gonna bring in our boy Tim Rogers right now, who knows a lot more about the money involved with the Dodgers and all that, because he's stayed very much on top of updating our payroll page at DodgersNation.com. Go check it out, guys. But it felt like a salary dump, and then in Moreno's side of things, Artie, millionaires don't like being told, okay, wait. You're going to wait here for a minute, Chief. So, all that aside, it feels to me like feels to most people.
Artie Moreno's not a millionaire anymore. He gave away all his money to Josh Hamilton and Albert Pujols.
Those deals look swimming, but again, the Dodgers came out pretty good. What most people feel on that. So to talk more about how good, we got to bring in our friend at SDDodger Tim, our friend of the show, Mr. Tim Rogers. How you doing, buddy?
Hello there.
So this is a lot. This was a big week, a busy week.
Yeah, I mean, was it last week at this time? Everyone's Twitter was going bonkers with the initial trade, and now it's finally done. As you guys were just talking about, I think it was going to be a salary dump to the Angels.
Yep.
Captain Obvious here, but when the Maeda money went over, to the Twins, and I don't know how they're going to distribute it. I have it that they're paying it all now, but it's probably not true.
Mm-hmm.
That put them over the salary cap no matter what.
Right.
So even if they would have traded Jock and Strip, it's still not going to do it. And then after the trade gets finalized, if you go look at the MILB top 30 prospects, Andy Pages went from not being on the list to being number 13.
Oh.
And then our buddy Graterol is number 4, and they put him ahead of Josiah Gray, which is stunning for me. Considering you guys probably know how I feel about Josiah Gray.
Oh, time
pitcher
out.
of the year.
Time out. There's a very important. The stream is 100% already on board with brother Gatorade. So
They're very excited about that. Yeah.
If it doesn't say Gatorade on his Players Weekend jersey this year, you know what? He's.
Well, now I don't even know his real name. I've just been calling him Brother Gatorade
tough,
now.
but,
it's getting real difficult over here.
I had to look at it again even before I went on.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying.
It's
It's
with a
easy to
T,
forget.
it's
I don't know how to
weird.
spell it now. I gotta freaking.
Don't
Google
worry
this.
about it. You'll be all right.
It's
You'll be
like-
right
it's
during
like
the
grat.
tweet.
It's like grating.
Yeah. So, Tim, a lot of moving parts in this, a lot going on, especially on the prospect side of things, which you're more familiar with. First and foremost, first thing we want to know is who's out. You got Jeter Downs, you got Wong, you got Camargo, you got Verdugo and Maeda, of course. What are we losing in that trade in terms of prospects specifically?
Well, Verdugo, we lose it's a really good player. And that he was number 1 going into the season last year for the Dodgers prospects. He proved how good he was. I think if he's healthy, the Dodgers get past the Nationals just because of the way he makes contact. Jeter Downs probably projects as a second baseman. So I'm kind of, Jeter's a good dude. I think he's going to play up offensively. He's going to hit 20 to 25 home runs.
Nice.
He's above average at everything, but he's not great at anything. And then
It's kind of like me.
which is, yeah.
Both
So,
of us here.
on the scales, if you look at the way they rate players in the minors, he's like on the 20 to 80 scale, he's like a 50 to 55 across the board. And then Wong, I love the guy. He's got some pop. Keeps getting better defensively. But we got Will Smith. We got we got
Ruiz.
Keibert Ruiz. I wish we had Russell Martin instead of Austin Barnes. But and then we got the Cartaya kid who's coming up. And so you guys know I'm a prospect hugger. I shed a couple tears, but we got
A literal
Mookie-
prospect
we
hugger
got
because you see
Mookie
them a lot.
Betts.
Yeah, he's
We
there.
got Mookie Betts.
Yeah, we had talked about it a little bit too.
Sorry.
And you're talking about trading from positions of depth in the organization big time. Like, losing Jeter Downs sucks. That was a guy I was excited to come up and watch him play, and obviously I'd heard a lot from you about him, and so that was a cool thing to watch his career progress. But when we started talking about it, it was like, well, long term, where does that guy even fit in? If you're looking to keep some of these guys that are already on the roster, it's like he's not a bench guy. Like, he's going to start on a team somewhere. So in terms of depth, yeah, you can afford to make that trade. It doesn't help. It doesn't, it doesn't hurt us to let him go to a different organization where he gets a better opportunity or anything like that. And then catching, for sure. Catching is such it's one of the deepest positions of our prospects, I would say. And so when you're looking at long term, you're like, well, there's just not enough at bats to go around at the big league level. We got to start moving some people. So
And then
that makes sense.
At the same time, you look at shortstop too. I mean, shortstop was now becoming a another position or an area of depth in the minor leagues. I mean, you just called up Gavin Lux, who they say, knock on whatever this thing is made out of, they say he can play shortstop, but you still have, glove first people whose bats might come along like Amaya. But at the same time, you do have a fully healthy Corey Seager coming into 2020 for, the next 2 years. You extend him, and then my conversation with Tim Neverett earlier, he's talking about the fact that it's like, you're trading a shortstop, but it's the Dodgers. If they want a shortstop, they can just go out and get a shortstop. Easy enough.
That's true. Shortstops
money.
are a dime a dozen, aren't they?
Apparently, it's a really deep position.
Yeah.
But that's one, of course, one side of it.
Yeah.
and
So
they're not. Yes, it's good talent. and everything, but it is replaceable. And that's the bottom
Okay.
line. And we got Mookie Betts.
Right. So we're going to talk about who we got now because obviously that's the more important thing. That's what we want to shed the light on. And I don't know other than obviously we got Mookie Betts. That's very clear and obvious, and we're all very happy about that.
Mookie.
We have been for a week, even though we didn't quite have him yet. I think probably one of the most underrated parts of this trade might ultimately end up being getting David Price on the team. Obviously, Brother Gatorade excites me because of a 100-mile-an-hour arm. Excites me no matter how good your location is. If you can throw 100, I'm excited. But we had talked about getting David Price for essentially what is it? What is it?
50% off.
It comes out to like $16 million a year that we're getting him for, or something like that. It's like holy
Yeah.
cow,
But,
that's a
hey,
steep discount.
15 million a year for the luxury tax.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's all I
And
care
so
about.
if you can have one good season of David Price in there somewhere, especially early on in one of the first couple of seasons, you can flip that dude for some pretty hefty prospects to a contending team. Like becomes a real possibility if the Dodgers end up with let's say a wealth of starting pitching, which they could end up having over the next 2 years. So
Hey, I hear
think
Garrett
that's one of the most
Cole.
underrated parts.
Garrett Cole's available in 9 years.
Oh, there you go. Now you're talking. Yeah, there you go. So
Go ahead, continue.
I personally was really excited about the idea of David Price turning things around. Even if he doesn't, chances are he has a better year than Kenta Maeda. So whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And he is somebody. Yeah, I like him in the number 3 spot. I still want somebody else, as I wrote about Mike Clevenger, keep speaking into existence.
They got some new prospects they can use.
Cleveland fans aren't happy at you. I'm seeing in the comments in that article, but a lot of
bad.
people, a lot of people very much want to see that deal happen. And I mean, if the Dodgers wanted to make it happen, they 100% could. Will they? It's tough to say,
Yeah.
but Clevenger would fit this team leaps and bounds above. It's such a left-handed heavy rotation. It's quality out-getters for sure, but still,
Right.
it's probably you would like to see a right-hander in there. Plus, just seeing Clevenger and Buehler together would be pretty damn exceptional. But going on with that, again, Graterol is somebody that if
Gatorade.
they wanted to do that, they could throw him back as a starter. I don't know if that's the need he best suits for this club in 2020. It feels like it's really, as James Brown here on the stream and Facebook says, 2020 is looking good, and Graterol really helps that in the bullpen because all of a sudden now you went from Pedro Baez is like the 5th option as a right-hander in the bullpen, and granted it's a very right-handed deep bullpen, but in your opinion, what do you see happening with this 21-year-old flamethrower from Minnesota?
It wouldn't surprise me if they do this type of stuff. They go, well, let's stretch him out as a starter and see what's there. That could happen, but yeah, they're already saying they're going to do that with Dustin May, which they should. Dustin May, I thought ended up doing a decent job in the bullpen, but he is a starter and he could be a star. Gonzalez, another guy, but this guy, he seems to be ready for the majors. I mean, but if when looking at his minor league appearances, I mean, in 51 games in in a short minor league career, he's got 41 of them are starts. So it's there, and they might be intrigued by it, but they are. Gosh, if just like they have so many left-handers in the starting rotation, in the minor leagues, they are so stacked with right-handed starters. It's like 12 guys in the top 30 that are right-handed starters, and so given that Kenley's always is a question mark, I do think he's going to be a little bit better this year. But we've got Trinan.
Yeah, nowhere to go but up, honestly, for both of those guys. Well, you would hope nowhere to go but up.
Oh, you hope.
You really hope.
Yeah, I mean, the best case scenario is that Graterol starts out in AAA because everyone's doing so well. But yeah, come on, 100+ mile an hour. Right? They don't have. They're starting to acquire more of those guys. But even when you look at the top 30, there's only one guy other than Graterol that's hit it, and that's Carrillo.
Yeah.
Who did it? Gerardo Carrillo, who did it in the Arizona Fall League. So to get that velocity is I'm a velocity junkie. You know,
Gary, we're talking about spring training and the things that you have to do when you're behind the scenes over there.
Yeah.
There's a point where you can go stand behind the catcher when pitchers are throwing, in that area. You should go stand behind the catcher when Gatorade's throwing, because if you want to
for
feel
sure.
what a 100-mile an hour fastball
that
looks like
video.
standing in the
I'll
box.
stand in front of the catcher.
I mean, no, don't
Yeah,
do that.
Stand in the box. Real quick. Obviously he wasn't the marquee piece of the Graterol trade. It was Graterol, and then probably really that 67th pick this coming draft. But Luke Raley is a guy the Dodgers are getting back. Do you have any real take on him besides just, hey, this is outfield depth at AAA?
Yeah, he was just kind of a throw-in, it looks like. I mean, he only played 38 games. He had an ankle injury, so he missed a good 4 months of the season. So kind of a wasted season. I mean, he had decent numbers for that part of it, but he's not that bad of a fielder. He's got decent speed. He's another lefty bat. He seems to have some power. There's people that remember him from being in the Dodger organization before that really like him, that are friends of mine, and they're real happy that he's back.
Friends of the show.
And he is on the 40-man roster, so he has a chance at making the big club this year for sure.
Speaking of that 40-man roster, of course, Ross Stripling didn't get traded. All of us here are happy with, because he's a friend of ours. And also, he's a damn good pitcher. 2018 National League All-Star represent right there. But on top of that, Jock is still around. The ones that didn't survive, Tyler White and Kyle Garlick, both DFA'd. Yet somehow Josh Sborz is still alive. What's your kind of take on the non-trade with Anaheim, and then the two guys that were DFA'd?
Well, I'm very, looking at it now, I'm very thankful the trade didn't happen.
Yep.
They are throwing their money around a little bit now, which is cool. Was it Rengifo? He sounded kind of interesting, but it was going to be Stripling, Pederson, and then this Andy Pages, who's just turned 19 and crushes the ball.
What, he hit 18 home runs and like less than 300 at bats last year in rookie ball?
It's absurd.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think the best part of the trade not going through was it's almost like we traded 4 Pages having him back. I got really excited about that. It's like that much power that young is just not something you come by very often.
He slugged .651 as an 18-year-old at Ogden. Ogden is not a hitter's area.
Right.
He does have that classic let's strike out a lot thing, but
he's like the Adam Dunn of the Ogden.
Oh man, he's good defensively.
Oh, that's not Adam Dunn.
So he's left-handed DJ Peters.
No, not
younger
Pages
DJ Peters can't field.
Pages is righty.
That's right. I was. I'm not
You're thinking of Raley.
Yeah, I got Raley on mine.
Yeah,
big on him.
He's not as good as DJ Peters, that's for sure.
DJ Peters is a monster of a human.
One of the things, as Brooke pulls up here, I saw the news earlier that breaking news for you guys who haven't seen it yet. Of course, Mookie Betts will be winning. Will be wearing number 50, and 33 will be assigned to David Price. So those are some quality numbers right there. You got
48 for Graterol.
Oh, look at that.
Don't forget.
Don't forget.
Brother Gatorade will be wearing 48.
Because for anybody that missed it, Gavin Lux switched from 48 to number 9 at some point this offseason. At some point this month. It might have been after this trade went down. So
Price has never worn 33 at the big league level, so that's interesting.
Well, he wasn't going to wear 10, 14, or 24, so that was a thing. But as we survive this offseason and we look through this offseason, and I think all of us here would honestly give Andrew Friedman very, very high marks for his efforts. And by the way, I said Andrew Friedman, not Andrew Fraudman.
Oh.
So take that, Twitter.
Friendman.
Andrew Friedman. But for especially, I would imagine, you already talked about shedding a tear. For somebody like you, Tim, and we know a lot of our friends on Twitter and all that. It's kind of been of a bit of a tough off season for fans that are not fans of change. We lost a good number of them base boys, as the kids call them. Ryu's gone, Maeda, Hill, Russ Martin's still out there, and of course, our
David
boy
Freese.
David Freezer retired.
Freezer.
Verdugo's the big one, and Gary has a video he can throw up. I think it was either our boy Eric V over at the Dodgers or Hunter Kondo, one of their other guys. Another one of the fine teams. Fine team over there of Verdugo. And just thank you both for Maeda, but it's just we lost definitely a lot after pretty much 4 seasons of not very much change.
Well, the past 2 seasons have been like, let's get the band back. Yeah, exactly. So it's almost like the opposite. It's like, hey, we're splitting the band up because the band sucks.
And I think last week when we were on, so was Vassay, and he had Ethan was talking about like maybe it is time for a change. What do you think, just kind of in your opinion, Tim, what do you think this does for the clubhouse, for the chemistry and all that kind of stuff? Just the difference that maybe, a little bit of a kick in the ass will do something different for this Dodgers club.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, if the Astros didn't cheat, a lot of this doesn't happen. But it did happen. They have not won a World Series, and it's time. And I think Friedman's starting to feel it. I think that they want to get Kirsch, they want to get Turner, and get Jansen rings. Yep. And this is the way. This is one of the ways to do it. He's done an amazing job, and it probably puts some people on notice too. I'm sure our friend Strip and Jock are probably feeling it a little bit right now. And it just shows that there are no sacred cows. Anyone we've heard Seager's name in the rumor mill. I don't want to trade him, but it's been out there. It is possible that you could get traded, and it's time to they're feeling that it's time to win. I think Caston's probably getting tired of saying stupid things and then people yelling at him. But Friedman's he's probably tired of it too. He hears it. We know there's burner accounts, and we know that there's people out there spying and stuff, and they're tired of it, I'm sure. And some of this is legacy. I mean, I've said it before. Caston and Friedman are so close to being Hall of Fame executives, but.
I don't want to give any love to Stan Kasten. I'm sorry.
Well, speaking of which,
I just
Tim,
put it in the notes, man. I said Stan Kasten deserves something right now.
Yeah, Tim, I think you owe Stan an apology. He was talking about real inside baseball economic stuff. A couple of years ago, this is what he was talking about, man. He was getting us ready, so we owe it to him.
And a lot of people have talked about the discipline that Friedman has had. Yeah, and it's
for
true.
Sure.
I mean, there's some players that a lot of us wanted. I think the closest one to Betts that we all wanted was probably Yelich. But imagine if we had Stanton. This doesn't happen.
No way. And we don't have him playing very many games.
Yeah, if we re-sign Machado, this doesn't happen. If we sign Harper, this doesn't happen. So
if we get Cole, this doesn't happen. There's so many different things that are like that if we had done it would have either we would have been crippled financially, or we wouldn't have had the prospects to do it, or we wouldn't have wanted to give away whatever prospects we had left after that deal. So, I mean, thinking about it, it's just like, man, he really stood his ground on a lot of stuff. And on top of all that, made a really great deal that didn't cost us very much. And got us a big savings on a good pitcher.
What were you?
I think today he said this is the best player he's ever traded for.
Yeah,
and will ever trade for.
Yeah, and will ever trade for it. So there's a little dig at.
Yeah, he had a finger up to.
This is
San Diego
no more trades.
for sure. Yep. You kind of you mentioned Strip in there. You mentioned Jock. We know Stripling he's a nice enough man. He's a nice enough boy. He's a nice enough fellow to understand.
And we know he's happy to be in L.A.
He's happy to be in L.A. I've talked to him about it. He's happy to be in L.A. He didn't hear. I mean, #sources say he's happy to be in L.A. We know this is something he can get over. Jock, on the other hand, seems like somebody that will kind of wear this. What are your thoughts on just that awkward Jock situation?
Oh boy! So
sidebar: do you think he lives past spring training? Two-parter.
I doubt he does. But and you talked about wearing it. So at the beginning of the 28th season down in San Diego, I mean, this is when Jock was awful, and people are going, "Why isn't Tolles up?" And what and why didn't Tolles make it out of spring training? And I was hanging out outside, looking, doing the autograph thingy, and walking across the street was Jock, and his head was just so down, and and it's like no one bothered him. Everyone was just so kind of bummed for him. He just kind of just waved to him, and but you could just see that he was down, and I think he is going to wear it. And I saw somewhere, and I can't remember where, but there some type of a possible promise to Pollock that he's playing full time. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if anyone else has seen that, and if I find it, I'll post it out there.
Isn't the general consensus that Andrew Friedman is still really high on Pollock, and he hasn't really gotten off that horse? Like he's still.
Or do you not want to make Scott Boras mad?
They gave him a lot of money. They gave him a lot of money.
Yeah,
over.
It's not that much money.
Can I have $16 million real quick, friend?
If I was a team, maybe.
If I was a team. It's a good enough amount of money for somebody that now is lined up to platoon. And no doubt, you look at the idea, especially if Jock isn't leading off, as Logan Jones over on Facebook says Jock's shoe game is weak. So shots fired right there. But as long as Jock is not leading off for this team, if you can add 36 home runs in a little bit more than half a season out of a player in like the 6, 7, 8 spot, that's pretty damn good. At the same time, I don't think he survives spring training, like we said. Like he's not gonna die. He's not gonna be a Dodger anymore, is what I'm saying, guys. But
it would just be awesome.
just in like the limited interactions we've also had with him, and Gary and I have talked about this before, he doesn't seem to be entirely happy or satisfied anywhere he is. If you go to like some of the events and stuff,
ice cream melts.
That's true.
AJ Gonzalez says Jock can whine about it when his lefty splits are higher than a pro hockey score.
Ooh, that shot's fired too. Jeez. But he just, at events, he's like, it doesn't seem like he wants to be there. No. He doesn't look like he enjoys a lot of stuff.
He doesn't do talking very good.
So, in terms of this, especially him wearing it, like I can see him taking this very, very personally, and it just making it. I feel awkward, and I'm not even involved in the situation. I feel weird about it, and I'm like, geez.
That's an exceptional point there.
This is awkward. So I can't imagine, Thursday when pitchers and catchers start rolling in, and then inevitably he walks into the locker room and everybody's like looking up, like, oh, well, look at the tiles on the ceiling.
Remember, they talked about like clubhouse chemistry a lot.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. We know how it is.
It's
too.
a big
if
thing.
anybody's mopey around our office, like we tell them like. No grumpy Stan here.
Yeah, we've yelled at Stan.
No grumpy Stan, because we don't want that kind of mojo around.
But, you got to figure somebody like JT is probably going to put his arm over his shoulder pretty quick and kind of,
if he hasn't already.
Yeah. You kind of fear, too, this sort of thing kind of creates a more cliquey clubhouse. There's so much change and all that. All these dudes that have known each other for so long. Hell, I think Jock was on vacation with several players, including Kyle Farmer, when all this started going down. So
Wood and Belly.
Yeah, it's going to be weird, and I'm sure they'll take care of Jock, but I wouldn't be surprised to hear that Friedman did tell him, look, we understand the situation. We do want to try to move you. We want to try to get people more playing time, because we talked about all this awkwardness, but didn't really point out the fact that Jock's salary arbitration hearing was last week.
Yep.
It did not go well. He lost. Nope. He also lost, the motion to try to push it back.
Yep.
All of it. It just looks really bad. It looks really bad.
Trade with the Yankees.
He's an exceptional, baseball player. The best outfielder the Dodgers have
defensively per Paul LaDuca.
Per Paul LaDuca, who apparently, since last time I saw Paulie, he really started taking to weed. But anyway. A lot's going to happen at spring training, and it's going to be fun. And you know what, boys? Pitchers and catchers report this weekend, or this Friday. So it's happy times for all of us. And I think all four of us are going to be out there at spring training.
Happy fun time sports.
Yep. Wait, Tim going to be out there that weekend?
Tim's going to be out there with us.
Oh, damn. We got to go to pizza.
Yeah.
What's that place called? Ghirardelli's? Or
yeah.
We're going to Giordano's. We're going to Angels. What is it? Ale Trumpet? I don't know. You guys know. You heard the ad read.
Yeah, there's an ad read.
Yeah.
You know the thing. You know the lyrics. Anyways, all right, Tim. everybody already knows, but tell people where to find you on the internet and find all the exciting Tim ness.
Yeah, on Timness. It's Twitter is at SDDodger, and same with Instagram. So those are the main places.
Well, you're supposed to take longer for that. Tim Rogers, SDDodger Tim.
And DodgersNation.com/authors/
/Tim.
Slash Tim Rogers. Yeah, I think
.org.
that's it.
.org. Once
.org.
again, Tim Rogers, thanks for joining us, and thank you for giving us all of the real inside baseball prospect talk with Brooke.
Yeah, Tim, the face of the franchise. We appreciate you, Tim.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Bye, buddy.
See ya.
Good thing this is.
See you next
good
week.
thing This is. Yeah. All right.
All right, bye. Tim,
Face,
was
the,
it
face of
Timothy?
the franchise. Leave him alone.
Face of the franchise. So, all that. Let's catch up with some of our friends over here on the stream side. So, Carlos says the home run derby ruined Jock's swing. I don't know if he hit more or less. I mean, didn't he hit like
It
2000
ruined his swing because he's only gotten better since then.
Yeah, he got.
Stupid take. Sorry.
Didn't he?
What his
I-
5 for 6 was after.
I
Wasn't
know,
it?
didn't you?
I don't like those people that say the home run derby ruins people's swings.
'Cause they
These
watch
are major league
baseball
ball
once a
players
year.
who take 500 swings a day.
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna one day is not gonna ruin that, guys. Relax.
Kevin on Periscope says, I'm a Dodgers fan here in Texas. Rangers would be a great place for Jock. Sure,
Yeah.
I will drive
Yeah. Well,
him
here's
to
the thing: the Rangers need talent because they have a new ballpark. Like
Exactly.
you can't open a ballpark without like a new face.
And
That's
if you
just a
can't get
rule.
talent, you can get Jock Peterson. Hey!
Oh, and they already have
Gallo.
muscly Jock Peterson. We have fat Jock Peterson, but
Well, yeah, we got fat Jock Peterson. They got thick with 3 C's. Jock Peterson.
That's
Like,
true.
have you
Oh,
seen
dude,
that
they
man's
could-
ass?
they could hit like 105 home runs next year together.
Just do
Yeah.
awkward fielding and awkward looking right fielders. And
Terrible
left fielders.
defense. Terrible defense.
Ooh, big question.
Well,
We're
he's the
gonna
first
we're gonna
baseman.
answer this all together towards the end of the show or a little bit after. But Connor C on YouTube asks, "What should Mookie Betts' walk-up song be?"
Oh,
That's a good question.
I got a
Let me
couple in
get
mind.
that.
Mookie
My-
did it all for the Mookie.
My leading candidate is remember Shane McMahon's Money song when he would walk out? Do you remember that at all? Were you a wrestling guy at all?
Never heard of her.
Oh, well,
Eddie, where you at?
It's a good song. Eddie,
He's in Eddie Money.
insert the song.
You know what? If I was Mookie Betts, I would walk up to Hotel California.
Because he hits
At
before
me.
him, and then now Cody's just there like, that's my song. Am I up right now, bro? Oh shoot!
Dan from Cali wasn't paying attention much to the offseason, which is fine. It was a long offseason, but he says Jock to Frisco for Will Smith. He's in Atlanta now.
But he can also go to Frisco for Will Smith if that's what they want.
We can go get Travis Darno for you, and you get that tattoo. Tina G, man, talking about the Jock side of thing. It's a business. He knows that. 100% he should, and I'm pretty sure his agents have kind of advised him on this. I don't even know. Like, I haven't heard whether or not Jock was there.
He's also kind of a big man baby, though. Usually arbitration hearings, per Trevor Bauer on his Ask Me Anything thing, said usually players are in attendance for their...
Oh.
It's usually them with their lawyer, and then there's like the arbitrator
That sounds
and the
painful.
team lawyers.
Because
Very
I
awkward.
do want to get it
Very
in
awkward.
here as that's what she said. Jimmy Foster has been blowing up our chat. It says F the Astros, and we could not agree more. So also
Flash.
That's how you know. I mean, that's how you know when there's...
Flash the Astros.
That's when you know it's like a big news week for us when we're not even talking about the Astros.
like
Because we spent the past 6 months talking about the Astros.
Everybody should just be talking about how bad Boston is right now. They're having the worst 6 weeks of their life.
and they haven't even.
I don't know.
Faced.
Boston's been through it a few times. I don't know.
Somebody asked about a Jock apology. We'll get to that because
That's the end of the show.
That's the end of the show.
Because you don't watch it that far. We don't want you to see that.
Roach asks, "Can we call Camelback Ranch the house that Grandma built?" Hell yeah, Grandma knows what's up. Must be a
Hey,
friend of the
does
show.
anybody know of a good Airbnb in Arizona from February 20th through the 26th?
Does anybody have a house?
Right
we can sleep
now,
in?
we are having a very hard time finding a spot or a parking lot we can put a tent up.
You can catch me sleeping in the parking lot.
Yeah.
At Camelback. Have you ever seen Major League where remember when they cut Willie Mays Hayes and he's in the cot outside?
Yeah.
That's gonna be
Oh.
me.
Yeah.
I'm down.
I'm gonna be like,
We can
I'm
camp.
cut already.
We can start a fire.
I'm down to camp.
Yeah, we can camp.
I
There's
can get,
snakes in
campsite.
I can
in
fit
Arizona.
an air mattress.
Scorpions is the thing.
There's scorpions in Arizona.
Yeah.
I
it's
can
not-
fit an air mattress in the old lady's Honda Element.
All my exes
Not
live in
a
Arizona.
sponsor.
Oh,
Honda
I can
Element.
sleep in my car.
Yeah.
I can sleep.
Wait, did the seats even go back?
I took out a seat.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah.
Very proud of you.
Thank you.
Anyways,
I'm seeing some quality answers to the Jock walk-up song question, so we'll get to that. I mean, the other guy, Mookie walk-up
What's his
question.
name? Marcus Lynn.
Marcus Lynn.
Marcus Lynn's walk-up song.
So, more Mookie, though. We got to talk about our fully operational Death Star.
ooh,
Guys, this is a pretty locked and loaded team, no doubt. The Dodgers have added a bona fide star in Mookie Betts, who's already joining a very loaded roster that's still, I mean, how many home runs did the Dodgers hit last year? Like 256?
a lot. Is a lot the right answer?
Mookie had an air quote down year and hit 29 home runs and still posted like about 7 wins above replacement, as we saw, Joe Davis making fun about that. As we prepare here to crack open a beer, because we do have a video clip here of an interview with our friend Tim Neverett. We also got to talk about our friends at Figueroa Mountain, because we got a brewery that sent us beer, guys. We finally made it.
Guys, we got a beer sponsor.
Like, this is what Brooke and I have talked about for how long have you been doing the show now? Like 30 years?
Almost over
79
over
years.
a year.
Are they on Twitter?
Ooh.
I don't know. At Fig Mountain it might be, but Figueroa Mountain was nice enough to give us a good amount of beer, because they understand how we operate and how we really give out our love.
Drunk.
So shout out to them. This one looks meaty. 7.2 out. We're gonna die. So cheersies, thank you to Figueroa Mountain.
I put mine in a koozie because I wanted there to be equal representation.
They gave me a Modelo.
Tis smooth. Yeah. Well, that was his fault.
Well, there's one back here if you want it after.
Oh yeah, just check.
Are you
I'm
trying to
almost
find
done
him?
with this.
We have a 4-pack back here because we drank 2.
But
I'm done with this one.
so anyways, while we are excited about Mookie the player coming to LA, because we understand, we can see his stats. You can go on Baseball Reference, you know his stats, but there's more to Marcus Lynn Betts than just baseball. So again, I had the opportunity to talk with Dodgers broadcaster Mr. Tim Neverett, who was a Boston broadcaster over there at the Red Sox for, I think, 3 or 4 seasons. He was there for a little bit. He was
there for a minute.
He was part of the championship season as well in 18. That may or may not have been ill-gotten, but we won't get into that. But he had an opportunity to see him firsthand. So Tim was nothing but high on this fine 27-year-old coming to town. Go ahead and roll that beautiful bean footage there, Gary. Obviously, you're in a wealthy position of knowledge to talk about it. Just tell us a bit. Tell Dodger fans a bit about what they can expect out of Mookie Betts in LA.
It's going to take about 5 seconds before LA falls in love with Mookie. He's just that kind of player. He's got an electric personality. He's so good on the field. He's so good with his teammates. He's so good with the fans. He's just a good person. And he does a lot of things, off the field very quietly. And he just does them because he's a good person. For example, during the World Series in 2018, somebody spotted him after one of the World Series games at midnight or 1 a.m, giving trays of food to homeless people who are camped out by the Boston Public Library, which is relatively not all that far from Fenway Park. But he didn't want anybody to know, and he was upset that somebody found out, because he said, I don't do it so people can, say, hey, what a good guy. He does it out of the goodness of his heart, and he'd have been happier had no one ever found out.
Yeah, he's not. He doesn't strike me as somebody that does it for the gram, as they say these days.
No, and he's just he's good around the clubhouse. He's not that overly, boisterous rah kind of guy. He's not going to come in and pound his chest and go, "This is my team."
I think
now.
it's playing. Is it playing?
He's not going to be like that. He is going to go about his business. He works hard. He gets along with people, but he's on business when he gets to the ballpark. But he, he's really, really good at every aspect of the game.
So that's somebody that you're excited to add to your club. I definitely feel like if you could add somebody the talents of that, but also just the nice guy that he sounds like he is.
Well-rounded ball player, you'd say. Yeah, on and off the field.
And we're going to have more with that Neverett interview on our YouTube channel. It'll be on youtube.com/DodgersNationTV. That should be coming out later today or sometime early tomorrow. But it's a really good conversation.
Yeah, he's going to fit right in with all the charity work that the Dodgers already do. I think
this
Dodger team does a lot.
Yeah.
Compared to
But you kind of
the
wonder.
Lakers, this team really helps out the city and does a really good job with the
Right.
charity work. So
For sure.
you know,
You-
he's gonna fit right in.
You kind of wonder though, like it's lining up to be his, one season, his only season in LA. We don't know if he's going to stay. Does he
Possibility.
want to establish a lot, of charity
Look,
efforts?
I mean,
Maybe.
honestly, he has an opportunity. If he wants to make a big influence and he wants to set something of his legacy on for Los Angeles or anywhere in the world, this is a great city to do it in.
Mm-hmm.
Just look at if you play well, you work hard, and you do everything right, and you do help the people back here in LA, look at the way the city treats you.
Mm-hmm.
We're still dealing with a lot of the Kobe stuff, but the world saw like what this city can do to appreciate somebody that does that.
Yeah.
And the world gets to see what this city can do together if we want to contribute to something. Donate to the right charities and help out the right people. Mookie has always struck me as that person. I heard the story back in the World Series, and he's always been the kind of player. I was like, that's the kind of player I want on my team because he's gonna give back to the city.
For what it's worth, he hasn't, he hasn't posted about it anything.
I mean, he has to show Boston he's grieving a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, on his Instagram, on his whatever social media, he's not a huge Twitter guy. For whatever that's worth, he's not. He doesn't
He's
actually
smart. No.
Yeah, I kinda feel like that plays
He
up.
doesn't engage in that. For what it's worth, he's also not really a big social media guy, just in general. Like he posts once every couple of weeks. Feel really dumb saying that and talking about that, but the dude doesn't post very often, so he's not super involved in social media. He's kind of like Bellinger. You know how Belly kind of just posts when he's with his buds and having fun, kind of, and he doesn't really, other than that, say anything. Kind of like him a little bit.
That's part of the conversation. More of the conversation that Tim Neverett and I had. It's like he doesn't what's part of that interview. He doesn't do the stuff for the gram. He doesn't try to do anything to really point it out. I mean, obviously somebody like JT and somebody like Kershaw, they're a little bit more open and visible with their charities because they're in LA. You got to figure the hashtag Hollywood lifestyle. You can get some more people out here and get more money out of people. The last couple of seasons we've gone to Kershaw's ping pong tournament. Each of the last two were hosted by what's the Breaking Bad guy's name again? Guy who does the meth.
Brian Cranston
Brian
does the meth.
Cranston
Does the
bought
meth.
out each of the last 2 years because he was the MC of the event. He bought out the first, one of the squares, it's $6,300 or whatever like that, which, again, for the celebs, it's chump change, but they also can't just give all their money to that. It's whatever. But,
Yeah, for sure.
you would really think, that was one of the things I said last week, too. It's like the idea of having him here, having Mookie Betts here in L.A., here with the Dodgers, on day one at Camelback Ranch is going to play up so much because he's going to get to know these guys. He's going to see the charitable efforts. We've made a little bit of fun here. Ramirez too in the show over times. Manny Machado, Manny showed up. He did some charity efforts, but he did show up to Walter White. He showed up to Kershaw's ping pong tournament in his one season here. He's only been on the team for a
ping
couple
pong
of weeks.
tournament? Yeah. He was there. Yeah, he was there.
And he dressed the right way. Johnny Hustle is TMR Spec 4 Timber Spec. We got another Twitch person. Wow.
Oh my
Twitch
gosh.
is lit today. Timber Spec 4.
Spec 4.
Wow. Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Did you
Or TMR Spec.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, Perez, did you make a welcoming basket for the rest of your Twitch people? Get
Yeah,
on top
Perez,
of this. You're a
take
Twitch.
care of it, man.
You're a Twitch moderator,
Look,
man.
if we're gonna pay you to upkeep Twitch for us, then we're gonna need you to properly greet these people.
Jimmy
Come on
Foster
now.
says, you guys are boring now. Change the subject. I'm sorry that giving is boring to you, but you know what? It is what it is. So,
Oh, look, another Twitch person. Look at all these Twitch people coming out of the
we're hot
woodwork.
on Twitch today.
It's
Gary, we gotta invest in
Laduca.
Twitch. It's Paul LaDuca.
It's Laduca.
Importantly, beyond all this
Well,
stuff.
Dodger Blue Bleeder. Have you seen him?
Yeah. There's a number one. There's a
What's
number
going on?
of them.
We're doing it, guys.
But
Yes.
they're, again, on top of all the niceties that Betts does bring to the community, even though he might not post about it, again, the most important thing to all of us, he's a damn good baseball player, and he puts his team in the best position to win ball games. And not only are we excited, but so are projection systems, because Pacoda, and I should have made a graphic for this, but Pacoda projected the Dodgers to win, 103 wins this season?
right.
which is 3 less than last year, which was a franchise record, but
Weak.
still, weak-ass team. It was a lot more than the 93 or 98 you said. I said 93 on Channel 5 last year, but
I did
what do
say
you-
98, didn't I?
what do you
I'm
guys
better
feel?
than you.
What?
I'm a better person than you. You're talking about 103. Look,
Are you taking the over or the under?
I'm taking the over.
Oh.
I'm taking the over on
103?
Yeah, and here's the thing. I'm taking the over on 103 by
a
saying
scratch
they're going to
on
win
theirs.
105. So I'm not taking that much over if we're talking about the
What?
over. I think the Dodgers will win 105 games.
Last year, you
The
went
West-
over 99, right?
I said 98 last year.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I took the over, but 98, yeah.
I'll take
The over, I think it was set at 94 or something like that.
Something like that,
95?
yeah.
So you thought they'd go slightly under. I thought they'd go slightly over.
I will take the under just because 103 is high. There will be some learning curve.
Let's just stay consistent with how we do things
yeah,
over and
exactly.
under.
But I do think they win over 100 games.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's
102,
102.
100,
Wait.
101.
Who is talking on that microphone?
Which
'Cause,
microphone?
You, because
Because I took the under?
man, you aren't Clint. Man, you do not. Yeah, you would usually go over, right?
No, he usually goes under.
No, I mean he goes under. I'm sorry, you go under.
You said I'll go overboard in Korean
did you just
barbecue.
guess 105?
No, I said.
I guess 105.
Oh, you
he
guessed
said,
105.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
I just went under.
Oh, okay.
I went under the
Good,
103. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm,
We got bold prediction.
I'm convinced. I'm convinced that they're going to be a 105 win team, and they are just going to. So we had I saw a couple people say that there's going to be a few 120. Jeez.
Mike says 120 on
Easy,
Periscope. Hell yes.
I saw a couple people say that they thought a few NL West teams might give us a run for our money, not necessarily take the division, but make it close. I really don't see that happening at all.
I'm scared of the Rockies.
There's no one to be afraid of, really. People are like, oh, the Padres got some players. And it's like, yeah, they got some bats for sure. And Tatis is, going to be an animal of a player all year long. And he's
If
going to
he
be a
can stay
pest
healthy.
if he's healthy. But you still can't discount the fact that you have one for sure starting pitcher and 4 maybes. And big maybes at that. Big maybes.
Quality maybes.
Quality maybes, but big maybes. And beyond that, they got a good bullpen. Padres have a good bullpen.
They have a
but
great bullpen now after the most recent wheeling and dealing.
Historically, the Dodgers are very good against Padres bullpens, and for whatever reason, I'm not sure why, they've tore up Kirby Yates.
Yeah,
in the
wasn't
past, and
most
that guy
of-
is like a lights out reliever.
Most of his ERA
Against the Dodgers.
was against the Dodgers last year.
So I'm going to take the over. I'm going to say 105. I'm going to say they run
gotta pick?
away with that division.
All right, I'll go 101. I'll say
101.
101. There it is.
That's good.
Did it-
It's a
Somebody
good freeway.
book market for me.
Did they mess up in September again?
Dan from Cali
Yeah,
says
probably.
110 wins. We got Lippenduca on Twitch saying
Excuse me?
100 wins. Perez 1619 says Gary Lee for commissioner.
Of what?
Yes. Of
Thank
the
you.
world. Roach says all I care about is 11 in October, and I don't use the desk bell enough, so I'm going to go with that.
This guy said we're going to clinch before the All-Star game or what?
Hey, what's our magic number right now is what I'm asking. I was going to post that earlier
I think
on
it's 162,
Twitter.
but what do I know? Ernie says 113 wins over on Facebook. 113, that's a lot of wins. I think people forget how many wins. What's the
Allegedly.
record? 116?
Sure, I forget. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's Mariners,
116.
right?
The Mariners.
Yeah.
James Brown
Who also
says
did not win the World Series.
100. Yeah, they didn't give it out of the. They didn't even get out of the first round.
That's how it goes.
Hell yeah.
You don't want to win the most.
Sorry, this is a spicy beer, guys. 7.2 alcohol by volume. Thank you, Fig Mountain. Love
Thank
these.
you, Fig Mountain.
I already love it. We have more flavors to try.
There's a coffee one.
We're going all
coffee
night
one?
long.
Yeah, I don't know if it's good.
James
but-
Brown-
I'm sure it is.
100
Did they say we're
victories.
supposed to finish all of it tonight on the show?
No. Charles Hamill.
That's not in my
That was the
contract.
deal, right?
That's
Our
not in my
boy-
contract.
Our boy Hamill says 104 and 58. Dick Hooker says 110. Logan Jones coming in hot.
104 and 58
100
doesn't add. Yeah, it does. Never.
You know what?
162
I'm gonna
and
build
out.
something on the site where everybody can put their number in, and then we can come back to it during the parade.
My wife says
that's
12 because it's her favorite number.
I
Maybe
mean-
she meant 12 losses.
Yes.
No.
There you go.
Yeah, sure.
They're going to win 150 games.
2020 Dodger chat says I'd be happy with 85 wins in a parade. So AJ says there's a new sheriff in town. Hell yeah.
Think
why
about
not?
how crazy this fan base would be if we only won 85 games. Think about the roller coaster drama on Twitter.
Well, the good news
Between
is
all those wins.
if we only won 85 games, then that means that we'd probably trade off a lot of people at the deadline and get
Yeah.
a lot of prospects. So whatever. I'll
It would
always be unhappy,
would
so it
be
doesn't
on
matter.
fire if we'd only win 85.
So chances
Who's gonna run
are,
Twitter?
yeah.
Who wants to run
Chances-
Twitter for that? Yeah.
Chances are we're going to win a lot of ball games, but thankfully, things in the playoffs will be normal this. Hey, that was a killer segue. After you. I crushed it. Thankfully, playoffs aren't going to change. The formatting is not going to change this offseason. And for more, or this coming postseason, and for more, we're going to go to Brook Me 3 live at the desk.
Live infield.
Live infield. No, I'm not kidding.
Well, look, there's the whole idea. You guys maybe have heard about it, but Major League Baseball is considering changing the playoff format. And, okay, I'm going to admit to you guys something. I'm not okay with admitting this. I'm not proud of it. I was really low on the idea of 2 wild card teams. Can you believe that?
Back in the day?
Yeah. When I was an old man. Like in my 18s.
What were you, 15 then?
Yeah, I was pretty young. And I was like, don't change the game of baseball!
Yeah, it's weird to think of the fact that the day baseball broke when there was, the 2 game 163s or 160, whatever the hell it was. You weren't even 20 yet. Yeah. Freaking kid.
Walker! The FCC, if you're listening, my name is @DiamondHoggers. Anyways, Major League Baseball.
Mountain.
You could talk to them. Major League Baseball is looking at changing their playoff format. Whether or not that actually goes through, it might not. But part of that would be it gets real LA on us right here. Moving from 10 to 14 teams and adding a kind of what are they calling it? The reality TV type of format to determine which teams play each other. It's a little weird.
It coincides with what, like the TV contracts are expiring, which is a big thing behind it too.
So they're gonna need those big contracts again, and those big here's the thing: those big contracts are gonna come regardless. We don't have to change the playoffs, guys. But it's heavily influenced by it. The best team in the league receives the bye into the division series. The 2 remaining division winners and the wild card team with the best record of the 4 advanced host each of the best of 3 series games. But here's the kicker. The division winner with the second best record gets to select its wild card opponent from 3 wild card winners not hosting a series. The division winner with the worst record then gets to choose its opponents from the remaining 2, and the final matchup is the wild card winner with the best record against the wild card team not yet chosen. So it gives teams a choice on who they want to play, depending on their record, depending on their position, and depending on the seeding. It's really strange. It's really backwards. I kind of hate it.
It's kind of like the NBA All-Star Game, picking your own team.
Yeah. It definitely has the tourist All-Star Game-ish feel to it, where it's like fun and games. It's like, no, wait, this is the playoffs. This is real life. I think the idea is that they're hoping, we don't need like the theatrics of it all, but they are hoping that it's going to stop.
No, I want the theatrics.
They're going to make a show out of it. Trust me.
Gin Rummy on Periscope just won. They said they hand out roses to the teams moving forward.
That's good. That's really good.
Elite. That's an elite comment
That's
right
really
there.
Good. I like that a lot. Anyways, they're hoping that it stops teams from tanking. Tanking is a big problem in baseball right now, guys. If you guys don't know, I know we're really, really, really spoiled that we get to be in LA and watch one good team. And
one team in LA.
There's only one. There's just one team. Yeah, there's the Lakers and the Dodgers. I don't recognize any other LA teams. The problem is in the lower markets and some of the smaller markets, teams aren't doing well. Fans aren't showing up in the first place, and even in some markets where teams are doing well and fans aren't showing up, Tampa Bay, teams are tanking as a result of it. You look at the Marlins, who are just, and the Orioles. Like the Orioles this season might be putting out the worst roster I have ever seen in my entire life, and I played on a 1-19 team in high school. It is a bad roster, and so there's got to be a point where Major League Baseball steps in and is like, stop losing on purpose. We need people to watch the games, please.
Roach says, when half the league makes the playoffs, it's a joke. It is a problem. It is. Like, it keeps building. And, back in the good old days, when only the 2 teams made it or whatever the hell it was.
There were only 2 playoff teams.
That was bad.
Yeah.
Once the wild card, like the original wild card came in and was it 97 or something like that, I feel like that works. It gives people more to play for. I thought I wouldn't be overly on the 2013 introduction of the second wild card team per division, but it makes the game more fun, but still It gives more teams something to play for, but still, it's too much. You know, they were going on about it on MLB Network a lot today, and I'm surprised by the people that are in on it. But beyond that, right now, I'm not surprised by the people who are not in on it. Namely, the players are not a big fan of it. But you know, I lost my train of thought right there.
You don't like it?
I don't. I'm not a big fan. I think it's just trying too hard.
You are a big fan.
I am not a big. Oh, I see what you're saying. Bullshit. Anyways,
thanks to our sponsor.
ultimately, to me though, right now, is this what baseball is supposed to be doing?
If you're talking about the CBA about to expire, like this
CBA is about to expire. You haven't even wrapped up the findings in your friggin' Red Sox scandal.
You don't know how to punish people.
You clearly are not out from under the bus on the Astros punishment. What the F are you guys doing? Rob Manfred, what's wrong with you? And apparently, you know, somebody in the stream immediately was like, cue the Trevor Bauer rant. And Bauer, you know, hired like 3 people to record him randomly and edit videos.
Here's the thing.
I didn't hear it.
I saw somebody. I saw somebody.
Like
I saw somebody on Twitter where they're like, I think Bauer realized that fans like when he yells about baseball and not about fans, and he definitely caught on to it. Like, oh, they are eating this crap up.
This has been a really good offseason for him, like building up
brand.
fans, even though he's kind of like a dick of a person.
He's not a great dude.
We don't know everything about him. I've never met the boy.
But I love the fact that he speaks out
But
so
if you're
clearly.
yelling at your damn employer, proud of you, boy. That's clutch right there. Alex Wood is not a fan. He was talking about how the Kansas City Royals just sold for $1 billion. No, what? Like, they're still in the league? Sure, they just won in 2015. They won a World Series.
Salvador Perez by the team.
He didn't make that much in free agency. Still, like...
Artie Moreno bought it and called it the Los Angeles Royals of Kansas City.
Shrug on Periscope says the wild card games have been amazing. Don't change it. Yeah, I think with where we're at, you've maximized the amount of teams you can get in there. You've maximized the revenue. Just walk away. Just walk away from like where you're at right now. Clearly, it feels so much like they're trying to. Sure, thank you. Mookie Betts says, "I love you, Clint." I appreciate you, Mookie Betts.
Did you know T-Mobile gives their customers a free year of MLB TV?
And
Katie said
Disney
that.
Plus.
I didn't know that. Well,
And
Verizon does Disney Plus too.
Katie, don't be bringing your sponsors in here, all right?
Oh, sorry.
Katie, if you can hook it up, I don't want to pay for it again.
I'll still not get out from under this whole stupid playoff thing without it just feeling like
It's just a proposal, right?
Sure, yeah, it's a proposal. Sure, they've probably been working on it for a little while. It's not the right time to bring it up, but it just feels to me like they're trying to distract from the Astros talk and the buzzers. It's trying to avoid the buzzers.
They're like, oh, they're pissed off about this.
really
we're
bad idea.
gonna change playoffs and make it stupid. And we're like, well, playoffs, I'm pissed. And then you're like, they don't even remember the Astros thing. This is
DH in National League.
Yeah, and then you forget.
Oscar Gomez buttons it up perfectly. Why try and reinvent baseball?
It's true.
That's what they're trying to do. Trying to change it up again. Anyways.
I'm all for changes. I'm all for, improvements. I'm all for that. But this is not an improvement. This is weird.
Kate says, don't need to become like all the other sports where 50% of the teams make playoffs. Pat Dwyer is not a fan of the wild card. I wouldn't wouldn't terribly be opposed to them maybe making it best 2 of 3 in the wild card.
No, yeah,
but not
I'm not a huge fan of the winner take all. I'm not a huge fan of that. You catch one team on a bad day, it's bad. That's why I don't like playoff football.
Yeah.
That's my biggest beef
I don't
with
like
playoff
field
football.
goals.
Yeah.
Straight.
This guy said, "Where's Brooke?" I was expecting a cute girl. I was lied to.
Straight nasty.
You listen here.
Good.
You and every single person that's communicated with over email for the past 10 years. All right, bud? All
right.
Relax.
So we're gonna introduce and
change
try
my
our
name.
best.
ASL?
try our best to introduce a new segment to end the show each week. I'm gonna call it Final Thoughts, unless we decide to come up with something more clever.
THOTS.
Yeah. If anybody is really good with graphics and all that stuff, like if you guys want to make like motion graphics and different cards for Gary to push buttons on, as we
Send them.
change, we're happy to plug your guys' stuff. Anyway, for the inaugural final thoughts with Brooke and Clint.
THOTS.
Jock Apology. So last week.
Go ahead.
No, this is I'm putting this on you honestly because I think we're kind of stuck with him right now, so you slightly owe it. It's not like it's a half-hearted apology.
What are the odds he's gonna ever run into me though?
We get like
we
get like
might
press.
see you.
I know that we get credentials and stuff,
Yeah.
but like maybe you guys just do it, and then I won't ever have to see him this year.
He knows.
I know he does. I know he does.
I tried to get him free ice cream, but he was like, "No, it's cool."
We've had a lot of happy. We've had a lot of happy.
Cool.
Son of a bitch. We've had a lot of happy and a lot of analysis today on the show for sure. We've also had a lot of bitching. We've also had Figueroa Mountain. I already said F. Come on. I gotta change this to explicit.
Yeah.
But there's
Not
one
safe for
thing we do
kids on
need to
YouTube.
address. Last week, certain hosts of certain shows were very excited that the Dodgers were trading Jock Pederson.
certain shows.
Of certain shows. Things may have been said in the heat of the moment and the excitement of getting Mookie Betts and also trading Jock Pederson that maybe you should extend, certain people should extend an apology of sorts to young Jock. I'm just putting that out there. As part of the apology, though, well, go ahead and start apologizing.
Am I apologizing?
Yeah, it was you. You mostly
Well, here's
did
the thing, Jock.
I assembled we're sorry. I assembled a sorry gift pack for him. We got beef jerky. I've got Funyuns, not a sponsor. I've got peanut butter M&Ms and Twix. Taste the rainbow. So,
in terms of being sorry for what I said, sorry is just such an arbitrary, subjective word. What does sorry even mean? What does it mean to be apologetic in your opinions and it's just like your opinion, man. Like it, who knows?
You might have
what
to
that
wear
means.
his jersey, man.
I have his jersey, and
And you
Katie
should
already
wear it.
pointed out to me that it's mustard stained, and I remember that. Here's the deal: you're on my team, I support you.
Yup.
All right. If you're not on my team, GTFO. But he's here. So
Last week he
while
wasn't
he's
on the
here,
team. Yeah.
Jock, I love you. Thank you for being present in
What
this
flavor
team.
would you like?
I feel you in this Chili's tonight, and whatever. I can't say like I'm sorry, but I apologize.
Tim says, Orange Slice says, no, we're trying to make it up to him, again, some things.
He's not
so
healthy.
I went to 99-cent store today. He can afford it. If he wants better snacks, he's got $7.75 million. So anyways, he can get more.
Could have had more.
Here's some jerky for you.
Thank
that was a
you.
good throw,
That was
by the way.
perfect.
So anyways,
throw him a beer.
Landed.
Ryan Moore says Twix, taste
Wait,
the
I
rainbow.
can really
Skittle.
open this?
That's up to you. I don't know. Whatever. We're about to end the show. The point is, Mookie Betts is a Dodger. We got a very deep lineup. Everybody's happy. Everything is rainbows, including Twix and Skittles. We do have a second podcast. We will be doing it this week. It's going to come out on Friday, so make sure you guys check that out. We're going to talk. Actually, we will be talking a bit about the Astros. I think we got to touch on that a little bit. We're going to be going through more of the comments that we didn't read today on this show, so make sure you listen. Make sure we find out whether or not we pulled your comment. But also, I got a bone to pick with one hashtag MLB Scout about his analysis of Verdugo and the Dodgers being their antics. They're an antics laden team. So, anyways, it's
You
kind
got me
of
teriyaki because I'm Asian?
yes. I literally didn't pick anything. I walked to the 99-cent store. I was mad. I was in public. I hate people. I hate you all. Anyways, thanks guys for tuning in. You guys can find us on the internet at DodgersNation.com. Subscribe. Subscribe to Blue Heaven on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, Player FM, and so many more. And make sure, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. That is youtube.com/DodgersNationTV. We have a lot of content going on over there. Thank you to Fig Mountain for throwing some beer in our way, and we appreciate that.
It's going to be an interesting couple of weeks until we finish the Big Mountain beer.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to keep going. I'm What am I? Who am I? I'm at BrookMe3 on Twitter and Instagram. This guy over here is at RealFRG. Jack Peterson, we love you. We are at Dodgers Nation on Twitter, at Officials Dodger Nation on Instagram. Huge thank you to Mr. Gary Lee. Hit the button, buddy. There you go. I'm glad you didn't hit the other one. That one. Thank you guys all for your questions and comments. Thank you for being with us.
And
we
thank you to
appreciate
Tim.
you.
And thank you to Tim
Rogers.
Tim Tims.
Tim
Rogers.
SDDodger Tim. We appreciate you, Tim. Thank you for giving us all your
training.
insight. We'll see you guys at spring training. Oh, and don't forget, we'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye.